I was reading on your website about like decriminalization of like marijuana and stuff like that, and I see that you're for that. My question is for the people that are, released from prison, are there going to be any programs for them to get back into jobs? Because, once you go to jail, it's incredibly hard to, do anything afterwards. You're it's almost impossible to like get back on your feet. So I was just wondering if you had any programs to help out those people that are in there for petty charges.
Thank you for the question. I'm pro the legalization of marijuana around the country. On campus, that's generally applause line. You guys afraid because it's like, administrators are there being like,
teachers are here.
Are they gonna like this? Anyway, uh, I was sort of laughing when Corey was like, slagging Joe on stage. I was like, oh man, Corey. It's like, I'm with you, Corey, but I'm not gonna, anyway. And the reasons for that are that, like, I'm not a consumer of marijuana in the sense of, I'm not like a heavy user, though I do have friends, who love pot. But to me, it's clear that we should legalize it because right now it's legal in some parts of the country, and our current administration of our drug laws is deeply uneven and racist in its administration. Like, if you look at who's in jail for pot-related crimes, it's vast majority people of color. And the third thing is it's a better means of pain relief for many, many Americans than prescription opiates, which have much higher fatality rates. The fatality rate around marijuana is essentially zero, and the fatality rate around opiates is unconscionable. Like, we have 8 Americans dying of drug overdoses, primarily opiates, every hour in this country because of the opiate plague that has overtaken a lot of us. So in that context, the legalization of marijuana seems like a very straightforward thing to do. Though legalization doesn't mean complete deregulation. Like, there are rules around legal substances in this country, like tobacco and alcohol, et cetera. And I would pardon everyone who's in jail for a nonviolent pot-related offense. So to the original question, it's like, to me, it's odd that the folks that get pardoned by the president tend to be rich, well-connected weirdos. It's like, I'd rather pardon someone who shouldn't have been in jail in the first place that no one's ever heard of. You know what I mean? And like that seems to me to be a better exercise of it. So the question is, what awaits them when they get out? And that's not just true for people who are being released due to pot-related crimes. That's true for anyone who's coming out of jail. Because the fact is, when you come out of jail, and Fred has spoken to this. Fred's a friend who spent some time behind bars. Yeah, and he helped people reintegrate into society. He now has his own business. So I just had we can give Fred a round of applause on that, sure. And so Fred and I had this long conversation about it, where Fred's like, "Hey, why don't people just like do what I did?" And I'm like, "Fred, like not everyone can just do what you did. Like you're not like and like I know this about entrepreneurs too. It's like entrepreneurs fail more often than they succeed. It's just you see more of the success than the failure. It's like when someone asks you how your business is going, what do you have to say? Awesome. It's going great. You're not allowed to like open it up and be like, "Oh, so many problems." You know what I mean? The same with having kids. Really. So how are your kids? Great. You go home, you're like, bah. So the question is, how do we actually have a path forward for people to reintegrate into society in a positive way? And I'm going to suggest that $1,000 a month is certainly a fantastic starting point, where people will actually be excited to see them when they come home, because they'll be coming with a check. And then they're gonna show up, and then people will be like, "Wow, things really improved since I went in. Like President Yang is really doing some things." And do you think they'll be less likely to go back to jail if they know they lose their $1,000 a month if they're in jail? Yeah, because we're going to spend the money on their incarceration, so obviously they don't get it. And so they'll be like, "Wait a minute, I get $1,000 a month if I'm outside." And this is not just me talking. It was a corrections officer in New Hampshire who said to me, "We should pay people to stay out of jail because when they're in jail, we spend so much more on them." And this is a prison guard telling me this. Like, he was staring at it. He saw how much money we're spending on this punitive, inhumane incarceration system. So $1,000 a month is a great way to start, but I do have programs in place to try and channel some of the tax revenue from marijuana-related businesses, which is going to be very significant, into African-American communities so that they actually are able to benefit from the new tax revenue. So there are a lot of things we need to do to help people reintegrate into society.
Question. Thank you.
I just want to speak a little bit more on this. Like, a lot of it's what's going on in the prison system. We have to get rid of private prisons. There's no reason to have prisons that profit from shoddy treatment of inmates and recidivism rates. It's like, imagine a business model. It's like, hey, if we screw up and you come back, we make more money. I mean, that's perverse. We need to stop criminalizing poverty in this country. There are thousands, tens of thousands who are in jail because they couldn't afford bail. You got to get rid of this punitive cash bail system. And the toughest part is trying to make our prisons a place where folks actually are in a position to get an education or to develop in some meaningful way. Right now, that's not the way our system is designed. Our system is designed really primarily for punishment.
Are all y'all paying attention? Automation gonna sweep the nation unless we get him in. Andrew Yang, 2020 freedom dividend. Climate change is real again. Science rules. Teachers bringing home some bread. Medicare for every citizen. Andrew Yang, 2020 freedom dividend.